When we hear the term medieval literature, most of us picture monks in monasteries writing religious texts by candlelight, and for a long time that image was true. In the early Middle Ages, almost all writing was religious. Hymns, sermons, lives of saints, biblical commentaries. Literature was meant to glorify God, but that changed. Slowly, a different kind of writing began to emerge. Literature about kings and battles, about love and laughter, about everyday life and even personal ambition. This was secular literature, literature that was not religious, and it grew into a powerful voice in the cultural history of Europe. In this lecture, we'll explore what secular literature is, how and why it began in the Middle Ages, its major themes and genres, also the important works and writers associated with secular literature. So, let's start. What is secular literature? Let's start with the basics. The word secular means worldly or not related to religion. In literature, secular writing includes stories, poems, plays, songs, and histories that don't focus on God or salvation. That does not mean that they're anti religious. It just means they are interested in human life, in love, power, laughter, suffering, heroism, and failure. In the Middle Ages, the shift from sacred to secular did not happen overnight. It was gradual, but it changed how people thought, wrote, and told stories. This was the time when Europe began to rediscover human experience through the lens of culture, society, and imagination. Now, there were several big changes that helped secular literature rise. The first one is the growth of urban life and universities. Cities started to grow. Universities opened in Paris, Oxford, Bologna, and others. Students, teachers, and poets wanted texts beyond theology like history, logic, rhetoric, and satire. Then there was also increased literacy. More people, especially merchants and nobles, they could read and write. They wanted entertainment, education, and stories in their own languages, not just Latin. Then the third reason was, the vernacular boom. Writers started using vernacular languages like English, French, German, and Italian instead of Latin. This made literature more accessible to common people. Then there was also court culture and patronage. Kings and nobles supported poets, musicians, and storytellers. These patrons did not just want sermons, they wanted love poems, heroic epics, and comedies. The rise of secular literature went hand in hand with the rise of secular authority. Kings, courts, and civic institutions creating a public audience beyond the church. Let's also look at the early genres of secular literature that began to flourish. So, the first one is the heroic epics. Now, these were long narrative poems that told the tales of warriors and their battles. These were often based on oral traditions and tribal legends. To give you a very famous example is Beowulf from Old English. He's a warrior who battles monsters. Then we have the Song of the Roland from Old French. It's the heroic defense of Charlemagne's army. Okay. The second genre would be the courtly love poetry. These were poems about idealized love, written for nobles, often to be sung. For example, troubadours, poets like in southern France, they were writing it. We also have Dante's La Vita Nuova in Italy. That's also an example. Now, these poems, they were secular, though they sometimes used spiritual language. They showed how love could shape identity, manners, and imagination. Then another genre would be didactic and satirical literature. Writers used wit and wisdom to teach moral lessons or poke fun at society. To give you some examples, Roman de la Rose, it's a poetic allegory of love and desire. We have The Owl and the Nightingale. That's a comic debate poem in English. We also have Fablo. It's short, and these are short and comic tales about trickery, lust, and human folly. These works were often irreverent, funny, even shocking, offering a glimpse into how people thought about everyday life. Now, by the 12th century, secular writing truly began to flourish. This was the age of chivalric romance, of courtly stories set in King Arthur's court or the lands of ancient Troy. These stories had knights, queens, dragons, magic, and quests, and they were written in French,
English, and German. To give you few key authors, then of course we have De Troyes, who created Lancelot and Percival stories. We have Marie de France, who wrote romantic lays with supernatural twist. These writers blended the old heroic tales with new ideas of love, honor, inner struggle, and moral choices, all outside of purely religious themes.
By the late 14th century, secular literature in Middle English had fully arrived. The most important figure, Geoffrey Chaucer. In the Canterbury Tales, Chaucer presents a full range of secular voices. The wife of Bath, the miller, the knight, the partner, each speaks in their own way, telling stories about love, greed, justice, and fate. It's bold, funny, emotional, and sometimes crude, but always rich in human observation. Chaucer gave ordinary experience the dignity of art, proving that secular life was worthy of deep and beautiful expression.
Across Europe, secular literature explored powerful themes. For example, love and desire, that was often complex and unfulfilled. Then we have honor and betrayal, especially in the knightly tales. Then there was the power of fate and how people struggle against it. There was moral ambiguity, where right and wrong are not always clear. Then we had social satire, mocking greedy priests, foolish nobles, and pompous scholars. Unlike religious texts that offered clear and moral guidance, secular literature often explored doubt, conflict, and individual choice, concepts that were daring at the time. Now, why does the rise of secular literature matter? It created the modern idea of literature. Before this shift, writing was mostly sacred. Secular literature helped create fiction, poetry, drama, and storytelling as we now know them. It also expanded who could be represented. Now, religious texts, they focused on saints and priests. Secular writing gave us farmers, merchants, women, jesters, lovers, and rebels, characters that reflected real life. It also questioned authority. Writers began to mock church officials, challenge old values, and celebrate personal experience, laying the groundwork for the Renaissance and Reformation. It also helped the vernacular flourish. Secular writing moved away from the Latin and embraced languages like English, Italian, French, and German, which gave birth to national literatures. Now, here are a few essential texts that you should be familiar with. The first one is, of course, Beowulf, written by we do not know whom, so it's anonymous. We also have the Song of Roland, we have Lancelot and Percival, we have Marie de France's Lays, we have Roman de la Rose, we have the Decameron, the Canterbury Tales. These works form the foundation of secular imagination in Western literature.
So, to sum this up, the rise of secular literature in the Middle Ages was not just about new stories, it was about a new way of seeing the world. It meant that human emotions mattered. Individual experience had meaning. Imagination could be used for more than just religious praise. Today we take this for granted, but it began when writers in the medieval world looked beyond the walls of the church and towards the laughter, longing, questions, and dreams of human life. And that's why, for students of English literature, especially you, this moment in literary history is not only essential to study, it's a reminder that all literature is a dialogue between the sacred and the secular, the timeless and the human. With this, we come to the end of the lecture. If you like the video, then do not forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon in the next video.